she's just amazing. Welcome to the Great Reboot. I'm Tori Ryden. There are few businesses that have felt the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic more than restaurants. In-house restaurant service has been shut down everywhere, which means restaurants better fight for their survival or be forced to shut down. The National Restaurant Association forecasts sales declines of $225 billion over the next 3 months. They've asked the federal government for financial relief for the industry. Of those who will survive, this is according to food experts, are those who get creative, think outside the box, and shift everything. Marie Kushner understands all of this. She owns and runs Marie's Kitchen in the heart of Naples, a high tourist area. Welcome, Marie. Tell me, when the news first hit about the pandemic and you started seeing its impact, and the news that you were going to have to shut down your own restaurant, what went through your mind? Kind of take us to that place of, was it panic? What went through you?
Well, my initial thought was panic. My focus at the time had been on providing lunches for schools and business and my catering. And of course, I've lost all the above for the time being. So I was thinking, what can I do? And then suddenly I started getting phone calls from children that live out of state that were concerned about their parents. And they had asked if I could possibly prepare their meals and deliver the meals. And I thought, aha, perhaps this is something I can do. And I also had to be very careful because I needed to have no contact. I have a husband that is autoimmune compromised, and so I have to take this very seriously. So I came up with a no contact model where people can order by phone, pay by credit card, and then I actually leave the food outside on a table so that we have no contact at all. We're both very safe. And then I started thinking about with seniors, a lot of them would be frightened about going grocery shopping and so on. So I came up with a very economical dinner that's still made with fresh products that started at $8.95. And I also started family dinners because I thought, mom's going to need a break during the week. Cooking 7 days for children is quite difficult. And that's how I became creative, I guess.
And it's something that, kudos to you for finding kind of a different way, a different model. I mean, this time last year, would you ever have thought that you'd be operating this way?
Absolutely not. They say that if you stay stagnant, you will become extinct. So you have to evolve. And it's just finding your way through this. It's not easy. And I've made, a few mistakes. And I try to correct it and overcome it.
Are you finding, Marie, that you are, I'm sure you're filling your freezer and you're probably relying on whatever anybody's going to bring you. So you have to be thinking, okay, well, maybe I'm not going to fix a pork roast tonight because I have this meat that I need to cook up. And so I'll be offering a meatloaf. How does that work? Is it really about just taking a look at what you have in house and creating different meals that way?
Oh, definitely. You need to find a way to use every ingredient you have in-house because right now you're trying to minimize your spending. And then another challenge is I may have a particular ingredient in-house, let's say chicken, something very simple like chicken. And it's like, okay, I'm going to make chicken parm. Well, pasta could be very difficult to come by, and you have to think quick on your feet. Okay, I can't do pasta. What can I do with it instead? So Um, even when you think you come up with a menu, because of product that's available, can really impact that.
I was looking through a couple of websites that give really good recommendations for restaurants that are in a situation like yours. And there's one that's called the Restaurant Finance Across America. And I can give out the web information. It's restfinance.com. And they give out 10 really good strategies for restaurants. And the first thing they say, the first bit of advice is communicate, communicate, communicate. Now is not the time to crawl in a hole. And so it's about keeping employees informed about what's going on and keeping the community informed. What's been your strategy on that front?
Well, of course, I cannot have contact, so I've been using social media. I've really been trying to post once or twice a day, for example, on Facebook. I have sandwich boards outside. You're right, it is quite challenging. And another challenge too is to promote what you're going to be offering. But that changes so quickly that it's been very difficult to have a steady menu. And the only way I could keep people really up to date, again, is through social media and kind of guide them to my webpage. That's really the only two avenues I have right now.
Let's give that out to people so they know how to reach you.
Yes.
You want to do, why don't you say it to everybody? It's
Oh,
www.marieskitchennaples. I'll just give it .com, right?
I'm
Is
sorry.
that right?
Yes. And on Facebook, it's also Marie's Kitchen Naples. And if you need to email, it's Marie's Kitchen Naples. So
At gmail.com. Okay.
Yes.
So you bring up a really good point, Marie, when you were talking about the children. I'm assuming they're adult children of people who live in the Naples and I guess the Lakes region of Maine, who they're worried about their parents. They're worried that, either they're not, able to make food for themselves, or they're worried about having them go to the grocery store. What are you hearing back from them? I'm sure that they've responded. I mean, it sounds almost like a Meals on Wheels. I know it's not, but it sounds like that kind of a service.
Yes, it is. They're very concerned, but I would say it's not so much that about making the meal as it is exposure, going out to the public. I would say that's their number one concern. And then, of course, number two is nutrition. Are they, eating properly? Are they hoarding canned goods and just eating out of a can because they don't want to go to the grocery store? So, yes, there are some challenges. And also, by having me deliver, basically the steps I take is I do not go into the house. I do not greet the people. I drop the food off at the doorstep, and then I beep my horn to notify the person that the food's out there, and I wait there. And so I'm sort of checking up on the parent also. If they do not, come and pick up their food, I immediately call their children and say, hey, Tom, did not come out to pick up the food. And then the children would call and say, hey, Dad, you need to get your food. So it's, I could see, and my father also, I provide meals for, but I've been doing that before anyway.
Well, it sounds like just a total community service that you're providing by doing this. And it must just make these adult children feel very comforted to know that you're there and you're not just dumping it at the front door. I mean, that's a real extra touch, Marie.
Yes, well, it's all about community. I've always been very involved in the community, and I believe in helping one another.
So I want to kind of delve into another thing that's really deeply on your mind, and this is your son. He is in New York right now, as you mentioned. You'd like to have him here to help you work on all of this Marie's Kitchen, but he can't be here. What have you heard from him?
Um, at first, he thought, well, I am young, I am healthy. If I get it, it'll be just like having a mild flu. He did not take it quite seriously. Now he's taking it more seriously, and he's contemplating leaving New York. However, it's challenging as a mother having an autoimmune compromised husband. He would need to be in quarantine first somewhere before he could come home. And to have to tell your child, no, you cannot come home right now, is a very difficult decision.
I'm sorry you're faced with that.
Yeah,
It's a tough one.
it is a tough one, but we all have challenges and we just all work through it.
So at this point, how many meals are you cooking a day, and what is your schedule looking like? I'm imagining you're just really cooking all day.
I'm exhausted.
Bed.
During a weekday, it's not too bad, but the weekend, last weekend was really the first weekend where I saw a jump, and it was very challenging. My model, I've never really considered my business really a restaurant, more of a food retail where I do a lot of personal cooking. And I found myself being more of a line cook. It's like, oh my gosh, I have this whole log of food that I need to get out. That caught me totally by surprise. And I had prepared quite a bit of comfort food because in the past, those were the biggest seller during the off season. And that's not what's selling. People are buying things that they normally would not cook or would only cook when a family got together. For example, prime ribs, seafood, and so on. I'm seeing a big jump in a demand for those and less for the comfort food. So that has caught me by surprise.
I saw on your website that you're also offering bento boxes, which is something I'm assuming is a little bit different from what you've done in the past.
Yes, it is. And let me tell you, it has really taken off. And this is something that will be part of my business even after. And it's also very well received with the seniors because I tried to make everything freezable so they could stick it in the freezer, take it out, and put it directly into the microwave. And, everything on there is fresh. For example, the vegetables I either grilled or roasted or whatever. So they're really getting a fresh meal, even though it's frozen. A lot of people think of it as TV dinners, but I like to think it as a very high-end TV dinner.
And nutritious.
Nutritious, yes. Yes.
So before we let you go, I want to ask you for a couple of pointers you might have for folks who are kind of getting into a cooking rut, and whether they can reach out and or maybe they're outside of your area. What would you suggest to them right now in ways of getting creative with what they have, or what kind of inspiration might you share with them as they're getting to this? It's that question, what are we having for dinner tonight? And I think a lot of people are falling into it.
Well, a great thing, believe it or not, is the internet. Just go to, for example, Google, type in a few products that you have on hand and do a search. And then I like to click on the image and take a look at the image and say, wow, this looks really good. I mean, I shouldn't say that, but I do that a lot, just to stay on my toes.
Great advice. And try to find things that don't take all day to prepare, right?
Right, right. And sometimes here and there, an all day preparation could be very relaxing. For me, it is.
Yes.
Whereas the quick things sometimes can be mundane. So I think you need to mix it up a little bit.
That's really good advice. And never forget the value of a good soup.
Oh, gosh, yes.
That's my go-to. Well, Marie, I can't thank you enough. I want to give out your web information again in case people want to check out your food. And I know you're not in the business of shipping food, but who knows? Maybe people know others in the Lakes region of Maine and want to give you a whirl.
Thank you, Tori. I really appreciate this.
So www.marieskitchennaples.com. I wish you all the best, Marie, and continued success. And I guess from everybody, I think it's heartwarming what you're doing for the community. So keep up the great work.
Thank you, Tori. And please stay safe.